What up, YouTube? I go by the name of Louis P. You are now tuned in to Louis P TV. And as you can see by the headline, I got something I want to talk about. The Equalizer franchise, starring Denzel Washington, directed by Antoine Fuqua. And I have some thoughts. That I would like to express. And I want to gauge what people think, because I'm curious about this. Now, The Equalizer 3 just recently came out in cinemas. I saw it. I enjoyed it. I personally still think Equalizer 1 is the best one. I put Equalizer 3 above Equalizer 2. Personally, just my opinion. And I think the Equalizer franchise does a very good job with well, let me go to the third one. I think what the third one does for me is it did a good job in establishing why Robert McCall, the character, would defend the people in this town, and the connection that he started to build with the people that he was with. I cared about it slightly more than I did in the second one. I felt the second one was okay as well, but it didn't really grab me like the third one did. And I thought the action scenes in the third one, the fight scenes, I thought they were well done. I wish we would have had a little bit more, to be honest. But when we did get it, I thought it was very well done. And Denzel Washington is the man. You know, there's no denying that. But the Equalizer franchise as a whole, there's one issue that I have with it that I was hoping would be different in the third one, but it's still present for me. And that's the villains. I feel like the Equalizer franchise, I feel like it does a good job at establishing the villains in terms of like them being sick people, ruthless people, or a potential threat. Like the first one, for instance, the villain in the first one, when he's introduced and we see him give the beats to Little Johnny, it establishes, wow, this dude's not playing, as he said, I'm here. So you get off to a good start with, okay, this guy means business. Then he tracks down Robert at his apartment. They have their face off, great scene. Then they have their face off at the diner, another great scene. So all the whole movie, it's building up for me as the viewer to say, I can't wait to see these guys throw down in this epic climactic battle. And then he gets taken out by a nail gun with relative ease. The bald dude with the mustache put up a better fight than him. You know what I mean? Like, and then the second one, you have Pedro Pascal's character, who, at least for me, you can tell was going to be the villain from a mile away, just for me. But still, okay, you build him up. He's Robert McCall's former partner. They work together. So you would assume he has some type of skills and training that could rival Robert. Okay, let's see where this goes. Not only him, but it's all of Robert's former team. So, okay. And they're going to have this battle in this town where there's the hurricane going on and da-da-da-da-da. Robert takes out the grunts with relative ease. Okay, cool. Let's get to the final climactic battle with Pedro Pascal and Robert McCall's character. Okay, Pedro lands a couple more hits than the dude from the first one, but he gets taken out with relative ease. And you have Robert McCall, who in the first two movies pretty much gets through them damn near without a scratch on him. Pretty much. So let's get to the third one. Okay, the third one, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but for the third one, he gets wounded in the beginning, but he gets wounded in a way to where it's like, okay, it wasn't because there was a threat that was, you know, of like on his level. It was essentially him he got caught slipping because he let a kid live. He didn't think a kid was going to shoot him. Kid shoots him, and he's crippled for half the movie. And then you introduce another threat. You introduce the main bad guy, this Bad Bunny looking dude, and then you got the brother. Okay, let's see what they're gonna do. He takes out the brother in like halfway through the movie after embarrassing him in the restaurant, takes him out with relative ease. And then the older brother, Bad Bunny, he's looking like, oh, who killed my brother? I want him, da 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 da. And you have that epic scene in the middle of the street where you think, oh, and I'm thinking, okay, let's see where this is gonna go. And then Robert McCall just Michael Myers his way through this whole villain's house, popping up in the shadows, popping up in the darkness, taking them out with relative ease, and then once again takes the villain out without a scratch, with ease. And at least for me, as an action fan, I just really like when you have a badass protagonist and an equally badass or more badass antagonist. I like to have that looming threat of this villain to where it makes me, the audience member, feel like, wow, how is our hero gonna beat this guy? How are we gonna, you build up me wanting to see the villain get his very well, but then when it comes down to it, it's like there's no struggle when the main villain comes into play. It's like it was like, well, that was easy. And I just really feel like the Equalizer franchise could benefit from having a villain that was on Robert's level and actually posed a threat to him and actually had like put up some sort of a fight against him. It's funny. I told a friend of mine, when I watch these movies, it gives me vibes of like a better written, better acted Steven Seagal movie. And what I mean by that is back in the day, it used to be a running joke that we would say, wow, Steven Seagal, he's a guy with special skills in all these movies, and he runs through bad guys without a scratch on him. Well, that's what I see that's what I see as the Equalizer franchise. What happens with Robert McCall? Not to compare the acting. Obviously, I'm not saying the acting is over, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like there's not really a struggle with Robert McCall. Like when we look at John Wick, when we look at Mission Impossible, I feel like one thing that helps a franchise as it continues on, or helps an action movie period, is a memorable villain. If you just seen The Equalizer 3, without Googling it, tell me the name of the villain. You don't remember because they're not memorable. You know what I mean? Like there's, what makes people love The Dark Knight, when people talk about how epic The Dark Knight is, most people remember Joker. Most people remember things Joker did. The villain makes that film more memorable than just the hero being a badass hero. When you look at a legendary film like action classic like Die Hard, you know what I mean? One of the most iconic villains in cinema. You know what I mean? When you look at movies like Terminator 2, you know what I mean? The T-1000, you get introduced to this threat of, wow, this T-1000 character can do all of this. How is our hero gonna beat this guy? How are we gonna stop this guy? I feel like that helps really enhance an action movie. Having a villain that you're watching, like, you can't wait for the climactic battle, but at the same time, you're wondering, how are we gonna beat this guy? How are we gonna stop this guy? He's a big threat. And I just feel like by the third Equalizer movie, the fact that Robert just gets through all of these scenarios without a scratch, it just kind of you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I dislike the movies. I enjoyed the movies. I just feel like it could just be slightly better if you had a villain that posed more of a threat to Robert and actually had Robert on the ropes in that final scene when they have their showdown. You know what I mean? But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Let me know if you guys agree. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And let me know what was your favorite Equalizer movie. For me, it was the first one. If you differ from me, if you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Let me know what you think. I want to hear it. Like, share, and subscribe, and tune in. And welcome aboard. This is going to be a new series, a new segment that we're doing for the channel, where I'm going to have guests and we're just going to talk, whether it's movies, whether it's sports, whether it's whatever. We're just going to talk about what we feel like talking about. And I felt like talking about this. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.